Welcome back to the 513 podcast. I'm Nick Nickel, also known as Bengals Storm. Here alone today, but I'm here with a very special guest. 6th-round pick, the greatest punter of the draft, competes with BJ Hill now for baldest player on the team. Brad Robbins, how you doing today, man?
I'm doing good, Nick. How you doing, man? I appreciate you
Doing-
having me on.
Doing great. Glad to have you on, but I mean, the fans are excited. Everyone's excited. They see one video of you having a 5-second hang time in practice, and they're like, "Oh my god!" But yeah, let's get on with the questions, shall we?
Sure, man. Sure. Sounds good.
All right. So first thing I want to ask here is the whole draft story about how you thought Zach Taylor was just a friend prank calling you when you were being drafted. Can you tell us everything about how that went and just? I mean,
Yeah.
that's just like a funny story, but
Yeah, absolutely. Just the draft, just the day, that Saturday is like it's a very interesting day, right? You don't know if your name's going to get called. You don't know what's going on. You're hearing from a bunch of different people, a couple different things, and I really wouldn't put it past my friends. I have a lot of friends that went to UC. I know they have my number. And I wouldn't put it past them to say like, hey, maybe this would be a funny thing to do, So at first, all the people who are contacting me and all the, like my agents and stuff, I have all those numbers saved, and I know, obviously, like who when I'm picking up the phone, who it is, and the 513 number, obviously the draft room number, I didn't have saved. Why would I, right? So when I picked that up, I was like, this could be a thing. This could be not a thing. And, I thought I recognized a voice potentially. I was like, all right. Like at first I was like, yeah, okay, sure. Like this is Zach Taylor. And as the call got more serious and like went on and started to develop, I was just like, oh, shoot, this actually, this is actually the real deal,
I mean, yeah, because like the CBS video they posted went from like you'd be like, "Oh yeah, hey Zach," and there's like out of nowhere, just like, "Holy, wait a minute, this is."
Yeah, that's kind of how it went. It was just like processing it all in my head and thinking about like, hey, this is the real deal, and this is going to happen, and this is the best situation that could have happened. I really, enjoy the fact that I have the opportunity to compete for a job and play in Cincinnati. And it's just a dream come true, especially from a kid who, grew up in Columbus and has been a Midwest guy his whole life.
I mean, yeah, I heard from a former player that you were in that Columbus area, so hopefully you grew up a Bengals fan and not at Cleveland, but
I'm getting a lot of mixed reviews. So I went back home, like I was telling you this past weekend, and there's a lot more Pittsburgh fans in Columbus than you'd think.
wow.
So I'm getting a lot of, congratulations, but we hope you punt a lot type deal. That's kind of the congrats I've been getting the past couple of days and past couple of weeks.
I mean, at least it's congrats, but next question I have is you said one of the main people like you built your game off of was Kevin Huber, and was that connected at all to your jersey choice of number 10, or was that just the coach just being like, here's a free jersey number, have it?
Yeah, there was a couple different numbers, and to me, like a jersey number isn't a huge thing, and now that I look at it, I'm really honored to be able to wear that, and hopefully, just follow in the right footsteps, right? But yeah, I was given a couple choices, and I kind of just randomly picked blindly because I didn't think it was a huge deal. I was like, yeah, sure, this number 10 will work, and after I selected that, I actually just Googled. I was like, what punters wore number 10? And the first guy that popped up was Kevin Huber. And then at one point, I think Johnny Hecker was 10. And those are two guys I really look up to in the punting world. And I've kind of grown up watching and had to follow their, college careers and got to learn about their college careers and really just watch them flourish in the pros.
Is there like a specific part of your game you like to take from like Hecker and Huber, whether it's like hang time or kick power? Like, is there anything you brought from their game?
Yeah, so I feel like the reason I really look up to Huber is just his repeatability and consistency. I feel like in the game of the game within the game, so the game of punting, you're really just measured by your mishits, right? So as long as that standard deviation is not too far off, like you're not hitting a bunch of, call it on like a grading scale, you're not hitting a bunch of A balls and then you're hitting a bunch of F balls too, right? But you're living in that like, oh, I'm hitting A balls, I'm hitting B plus, I'm hitting A plus. I want to live in that kind of realm, right? So really just looking at the dependability and repeatability of Huber. I really liked his footwork, and I've been watching, a lot of his like mirrored film. I guess you have the technology nowadays to mirror his because he's a lefty. I get to flip it over to the other side so I can see him as a righty, where everything's just reversed. And it's just something to learn from. And on top of that, he was a really good holder. And to be able to learn from him as a holder and the consistency and the reliability there is huge, right? It wins teams games. So that's just those are a couple of the facets that I'd like to bring to the team and bring in my own game.
Yeah, speaking of the holding point, I want to know, how have you like connected so far with Cal Adamitis and Evan McPherson in that? I know it's only been a few weeks, but like I've seen you practice holding already, and how's the connection doing so
Right.
far?
No, connection's great. It's a really good working battery, and we've been kicking a decent amount within the past couple of weeks since I've been here, and just the ability to learn from Coach Darren and just receive any feedback I can from Cal and Evan is kind of how I pride myself on being coachable and approachable, right? So just really understanding that kind of when I walk in, I got to be coachable in a way that they're going to teach me a bunch of new stuff, and maybe what I was doing in college worked in college and maybe it's not working now, right? So let's figure out what needs to be exactly done. So we kind of broke it down to the basics, just how I held in college, right? Did pretty well for our boy Moody, and how I can bring that to the team now. So we've changed a couple of things, like you see in a lot of the videos. I've seen a couple of videos on Twitter. There's a lot of slow, deliberate work, just basically on catching and holding and positioning and all that kind of stuff. So that's really just taking the next step to being a professional athlete, is honing in that craft. And there's a lot more to it than most people think. And just excited to get to work and be able to do that. Evan and I have been hanging out and golfing, and really, I think a big part of the kicking game, at least with a kicker, holder, snapper, battery, is developing that relationship, right? I saw it a lot with, just comparing it back to me at Michigan with Moody, and when he was going through the private workout circuit and we would have to hold, right? There's certain rules that people don't know. When you go through those workouts, you can't have snappers who still have college eligibility snapping during your workouts. So oftentimes we would turn to like our tight ends who are coming out. One of them is with the Cardinals right now, and the other guy decided he didn't want to do football anymore. But those guys were snapping for us on those private workouts, right? And that relationship that me and Moody had formed over the past 6 years with a bunch of errant snaps and stuff like that going on during those workouts, he was able to actually just trust me as a guy to put that ball down, and he was able to smoothly go through his motions and make kicks, right? And that's just during workouts. So I'm hoping to develop that same relationship with Evan and same relationship with Cal to just be consistent and reliable for our team.
And so speaking of the like just grabbing a tight end, tell them to snap, I was actually going to move on to my next question. Have you worked with Tanner Hudson, I believe?
Yeah,
Who
a
is
couple times. Yeah.
Yeah, because I know lots of fans are scared if that happens again, because I don't know if you know about what happened last year with week 1.
Mm-hmm.
You know what happened?
Yeah, I'm pretty certain. Yeah.
Clock Harris
I don't
tears
want
his
to speak.
pec,
I don't want to speak
sadly.
something else into existence.
Yeah, he sadly tears his pec, and then our third string tight end Wilcox comes in, and so now everyone's like, "Oh God, we need." Just want to make sure that there's already a connection going on with a emergency lawn snapper. Get the fans calm down in that 1 in a million scenario again.
Right. No, there's a lot more to it than people understand, and I think our job as professional athletes is to always prep for any situation, right? So, having that work pre-practice, post-practice, and developing, like I said, that relationship and being able to count on each other, and just prepping for any situation. So, if that point were to come, and we hope it doesn't, we're comfortable in that position, right? So, yeah, we've definitely been working and forming those connections, and like I said, hopefully that doesn't happen in the future, but we're going to be prepared if it does.
All right, so next question I have. I know it's only been a few weeks, OTAs, but has there been any is there any stories you want to say with meeting a player or something that you just want to tell the Bengals fandom right now that you just think, yeah, this will get a kick out of them?
Well, I think the most positive thing, I'd have to reflect on some stories. I have a handful, just not sure which ones I want to share, but the thing I just want to tell everybody is that the locker room is so positive, and the most positive locker room I've been a part of. Um, Going from a Michigan team in 2017 that was struggling and trying to rebuild that culture, and getting it to where that is, and then coming into this locker room now, it's like we're not trying to make gains from here to here, right? Like way down there to way up here. It feels like, just from the feeling in the locker room, it's like the team's making really small gains to be a Super Bowl team, right? So it's not these big leaps and bounds and strides and things we need to do to help fix a culture. The culture is unbelievable already. It's it's a dream come true to be in that situation. And really, it's just what can we do now to win a Super Bowl. So, but I've met a lot of the players. Shoot, I don't know. I guess we have segments sometimes in team meetings that are pretty funny. But they talk about, okay, only rookies, you guys can answer this, and vets, you guys can answer this, right? And so the funniest thing was the vets can only answer this question, and it was name that rookie, right? And it popped up with a bunch of high school stats, like, this guy was a 4-sport athlete in high school, was all conference in 3 sports, yada yada yada. So name that rookie, and a lot of the vets were raising their hands, going like, "Oh, it's Miles. Oh, it's DJ. Oh, other DJ. All that kind of stuff." And then, my high school pick pops up, right? It's like, and I think maybe I gained a little bit of respect, that I'm just, I'm not just a punter, and maybe can be a little bit of an athlete, right? So got a few dap ups for that, but that was one of the funny things. The whole team erupted and was like, "What? No way!" That kind of deal.
Oh,
So,
wait, what position did you play?
so I was in football. I did a little bit of receiver and safety, but really I just focused on punting towards the end of my high school. So that's what I got all conference for in that. Baseball, I was middle infielder. I was outfielder. But I think middle infielder really contributes to how I hold and just the ability to trust my hands. And I pitched as well. Basketball, I was like a 3 or a 2, being limited in height. I'm not necessarily a basketball type body. I'm about 6'1" and a little bit long. And then soccer, I was like a defender. So those were all the positions I played.
See, now I'm just thinking, out of nowhere, T. Higgins sees you and says, "Hey, Brad, want to do one-on-one basketball?"
Yeah,
And
they don't know I can shoot yet. I don't think they can. I don't think they know I can shoot.
I mean, I'm 6'4", so I understand basketball stuff, but
No, I'll get it.
But to be honest, the story thing, I was hoping you'd say something like, "Yeah, I saw that barber come in and shave BJ Hill bald right in the locker room." Or did you
Yeah.
leave for that?
Yeah, no, I didn't. No, I was still relatively. I mean, I still am new, but I was, about a week in, and I saw that happening, but I didn't quite know what was going on, and there were like cameras and stuff, and I
Do
just,
you know why it happened?
yeah, I saw the
Yeah,
bet, and I
yeah.
heard the backstory of that. I thought it was pretty funny. But yeah, I wish I was there for that. But I've been hyping him up and giving him some confidence boosts. He's starting to stick to the hats, like I'm wearing. But I have no
Nice.
problem. I'm confident in this. But half the deal with being bald is just rocking it confidently.
All right, so moving back to a football question, how has it been working with Darren Simmons already? Just special teams and all that, just like a
Yeah,
month in already.
yeah. Um, I like the way he coaches, and I love the way he approaches the game. He's obviously been there for forever. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, he's the longest tenured coach in like any given position other than Bill Belichick, which is a crazy stat. And just the ability to work with him, he's super attention to detail oriented. And when I came in, I thought I was very much, like military attention to detail, right? And ever since working with him, it's like I got to compete with him on that attention to detail thing. Like, he is so detail oriented, and it's great. And I think it'll help me become a better player. I think it'll help me become a better person, brother, son, what have you. And I'm just excited to learn from him and grow as a person.
Yeah, I've never heard anyone say anything bad about Darren, so that's so good to hear. But all right, so the last question I have for you today is something I have to ask every player. How have you done in the ping pong in the Bengals locker room?
The ping pong.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So, like I said, I'm sneaky. I don't want to let guys know quite yet that I can play. I've played a handful of guys. I typically don't play when there's a lot of people in the locker room. I kind of want to keep it low key that I can play, um, just in case they want to do like a doubles game or something, and I'll be like maybe like a hidden pick type deal. But they also got cornhole in there, and I'll tell you, Trent Irwin is like the best, so like hands down, the best player at any of those games in a locker room. I played cornhole against him. I think it was my first day there. I was just tossing bags around, and he, I toss them the right way and like kind of spin them so they look like a frisbee in the air. They land flat type deal. And he's like, "Yeah, you look like you can play." And I was like, "Yeah, I can play a little bit. Like, I don't consider myself like a huge cornhole guy, but I got enough hand-eye. Like, I can figure it out. We'll have some fun." And he hopped on. He beat me like 21-3, right?
Oh my.
And but it wasn't like bad. Like, it was he was getting
Uh,
like 4 points at a time. And then he started doing this thing. Like, I would put 3 bags on and I would put one in, and he would put one on and he would put 3 bags in, right? So the way he would set it up is he would, like, they have a sticky side, they have a flat side. So he would throw his first bag, the sticky side, about an inch in front of the hole, so it blocked everything. And then I would try to slide it around it, or I would try to airmail, and I'd just put one on. I wouldn't make it, and then he would airmail the rest of his bags. He would just sink every one of them with almost not even touching the hole. They would just go straight in. So, I'm hoping in the future I could use him as a partner, or maybe learn some tips and tricks from him. But that's definitely a locker room story. That's been
I mean,
pretty good.
yeah, that does sound like something Trenton would be really good at it. But so now, what's your ping pong record? You said you played a few guys.
Yeah. And then like Trent Irwin is also the lefty, so I played him in ping pong a handful of times, and he kicked my butt. And then I played McPherson. I think I'm 1-2 against him. And then it's like a lot of the rookies who are trying to learn and stuff. I'll win there. But I haven't really, found my niche of guys I want to compete against. I don't know my exact record, but I'm probably about 500.
I mean, I'm just saying this on the last episode where I asked Cody Ford this. He said, "Oh, I'm like really bad, and if I have to find someone that is bad at it, so I can get one win and retire on top. So just saying, you could just grab him and boost that record.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I gotta definitely. I think the fact that I'm not as good as I want to be at ping pong definitely bodes well for me. It just means my focus is in the right spot. Got to get really good at punting first, right? So just continuing to improve on that, and once that game, my punting game feels solid and feels really good, then maybe start to focus my attention a little bit more on ping pong.
Yeah, I mean, great to hear that. But I think that's all we have for you today. Thank you for
Okay.
listening to the 513 podcast, and subscribe and make sure to follow Brad on any social media and watch as he hopefully is the first player to get a 99-yard punt.
That'd be pretty sweet.
But yeah, thanks for listening, everyone.